Okay, welcome to a special episode of the Contrarian Hour, and it's special because we did take a little bit of a hiatus, and I feel like there has been a monumental event that we should dive into. Before I do that, Tyson, you with us?
I'm with you guys. I'm here. I'm recovered, dude. I was out sick for a few weeks, if you remember.
They sort of pile up onto each other because there was one time where I was worried about you dying for about 3 weeks because you ate some. I don't know if you ate something that you shouldn't have, but when you would get on the mic and your body would make noises that a body shouldn't be making.
Dude, I ate a fucking cheeseburger from an Indian restaurant, which is the last time I ever fucking do that.
Never mind. Yeah, a part of you must have seen that coming to some degree.
I don't know what I expected because I wouldn't sound like, do I get tikka masala or fucking double cheeseburger? Oh, let me get the double cheeseburger.
Imagine that though. It's just like someone recommends that to you, like obviously chicken tikka masala is the most recommended Indian dish, and that's the one people like. It's the most common one. Isn't it the official dish of the UK? Who knows? Which is pathetic, by the way. But imagine it's like, no. Get the double cheeseburger. Yeah, that is it. Then that becomes ironically the official dish of the UK.
It would be really funny if like somehow India like adopts American food culture like really hard, and like within like a century they're like the Philly cheesesteak is the sandwich of India, you know?
Therefore the sandwich of the UK. Yeah, that would be hilarious. So speaking of feeling sick to your stomach or not sick to your stomach, depending on how the night went for you, something happened in my country recently that a lot of people are still reeling from on either side, and it is, of course, what I'm talking about, the 2024 election, okay, of our president. So we have a winner. It was Donald Trump, and I'm just going to go out of my way. I already had to issue a few apologies in our Discord, but I'll even issue them to the viewers like you, listeners like you. Listen, after Trump got shot, he was going to win. He was going to beat Biden any day of the week. The race was over from that point, and people had already seen his senility from that first debate. So it was a done deal. And I think he himself deep down kind of knew that. He backed out. In retrospect, he probably would have put up a better fighting chance than Kamala did.
Dude, Kamala lost on every single fucking demographic. Like, yeah. There's no way Biden didn't know that. And he obviously... So apparently what happened is after the disastrous debate, the DNC wanted to have like an open primary and have the Democrat voters like vote on someone to replace him. And apparently Biden was like, no, fuck that. I'm going to just endorse Kamala and tank the entire election, which is so fucking based, by the way. And yeah, he put up Kamala. He endorsed her immediately, so everyone had to endorse her and get behind her. And she just fucking tanked the entire thing, dude. It was sick.
She did. And my apology is even the... I thought voters were no longer enamored with Trump. I know I wasn't enamored with Trump. I was not crazy about the last 2 years of his term. I haven't liked his entire attitude about taking on the administrative state and always being about himself and his issues over the last 4 years. I just thought people had had enough of it and were ready to move on. I was sorely mistaken. And I'm not sure if that had to do more with people liking Trump, which I still don't think is the case, or that Kamala was just an awful candidate, which blows my mind, by the way, because back in the day when she was in Senate investigative committees, and I think she was a senator in general, she was great. She was very sharp. She was well-spoken. She was articulate, and she didn't bumble and talk like she was airheaded, like she was on The View or something. And
she sounds kind of fake.
You think that was always there? Well, she does now, yeah. But back then, I thought this was the future of the Democrat Party. I think a lot of people did too.
I feel like people just had enough of her fucking laugh. She's like, Tupac, like, enough, please, Wait, enough.
You just sound like you're about to do a Lil Wayne rap, like, Tucci, like, Tupac. I don't know. There was a little bit of something there. I know, and I thought.
Now I gotta carry some hot sauce in my purse.
I found some parts of her endearing. I did like the brat Kamala stuff. I thought it was fun, but at the end of the day, what's not fun is a dysfunctional economy. And that's really what drove everyone to vote. And you could talk about all these other arterial kind of social issues that people who are going to vote the same way anyways care about. But at the end of the day, it was, if you don't have a portfolio, if you don't have a 401k, you're working to paycheck, you're renting, which is the majority of the country, by the way. This economy does not work for you. This economy is not working for you. You can't live through 4 more years of the economy we have now if you're not well off or at least making 6 figures. That is how it goes in this economy. So people saw that, they acted on, they voted on it.
Even though Trump won, and I was on air saying it's better if Trump loses, I am gonna still take that as, I want you to mark my words. Now is the time for exuberance. You can celebrate, you can salt and mine, you can enjoy the leftist tears. Mark my words, dude. 2 years in this administration, 2026, it's gonna fucking suck ass. Okay, it's gonna be complete fucking dog shit. And you mark my words on that. Yeah.
Really? Is that
People
because you think they'll... Go ahead.
People think like, this is the resurgence. Trump has learned his lesson from last time. Now Trump's gonna unleash himself. No, he's not. He's fucking 80 years old. It's gonna be fucking completely co-opted. It's gonna be dog shit, okay? And you're retarded if you think it's gonna be like all these fucking Bronze Age pervert retards are Twitter thinking, Trump just won and you're blackpilling? Yeah. What is there to fucking white pill about? You're obviously a shill for a different country. So why didn't
Okay.
I'll get into that later on. But you're retarded if you think this is going to be fucking a based administration. It's going to be dog shit.
Well, the only reason I can kind of get with you on that is, first, they're going to do the optics of, we have midterms coming up. So we can't go too crazy on Trump's agenda. We need to maintain optics for the upcoming midterm elections. We don't want another blue wave, which happened last time, which, by the way, the only wave I ever saw in my entire life was during one of Obama's midterm. That was an actual title red wave. The blue wave during Trump's administration was nothing like that. But what I am gonna say is, no, there will be no reckoning. Even though Trump has this mandate, he has the House, he has the Senate, he ostensibly has the Supreme Court, by the way. Nothing is going to happen. Nothing worth... Not with people like Elon Musk and Tulsi Gabbard.
These people think that they're going to have like fucking deportation squads like tomorrow. Like,
because they saw a clip of Homan saying,
Let me paint a picture. You're not going to get anything except more illegal immigrants. Okay, even if Trump deports 10x of what he did in the first administration, which there's nothing to indicate that he will 10x that at all. But let's say he does, right? Let's say he deports 1 million fucking illegal immigrants a year. That's still not enough. The border is fucking open, and like 10 million come in every 4 years. So that's still not even enough if he deports 1 million a year.
Yeah, I'll have to push back a little bit there, because the thing about Trump is, you know what? I'll just get into it now. And I've said this a million times before. People get frustrated with the way that Trump's GOP functions under Laura and Donald Trump himself. Donald Trump is a center-left New York City liberal from 30 years ago. The GOP right now, people don't want to get this, especially people on the left, functions the same exact way as the center left from 20 to 30 years ago. When it comes to social issues, when it comes to economic issues, when it comes to anything, you want to name it, Trump and the GOP are in lockstep. So when you see him appointing people like Elise Stefanik or Christine Noem or whoever else, that is what the party is. People get mad at this guy, Scott Pressler. He's this tall homosexual man with long hair who's registered more voters than anyone in our lifetime could. Many lifetimes could. And people are like, oh, there's this, what is Trump's party? Oh, this gay guy, etc. That's what it is. That's what the Trump administration is. It always wanted to be this Big Ten. It always wanted to be racially diverse. It always wanted to be sexually diverse. That's what it was in 2016. So I don't know what all these people are who these people are from the hard right that think out of all of this, which Trump always was the entire time, there's going to be some grand gesture, this sweeping pivot to the hard right that's going to completely embody what? Project 2025 and all this other stuff. It's not there. It's never been there. But my main point, what I'm trying to get at is immigration was the only hardline, hard right issue that Trump aligned with all parts of the right on, and a lot of the parts of the left too. And that's what he should focus on. That's why I don't want to say I'm a supporter or anything, but that's why I lean in his direction, because it's not about deportation. That will never work. We do not have the logistics for that. It will not happen. And the optics of it, the GOP will never go for it. Neither will Trump. He doesn't want a picture, Elian Gonzalez bullshit, like family pictures on his hand. What needs to be done is the border just needs to be plugged. That's it. The border, if he can just stop deportation or stop people jumping over the border, that's it. That's all I'm looking for. And if you have the House, Senate, presidency, and Supreme Court, and you can't at least plug the border, country's gone.
Happen. It's not going to happen.
Oh, really? You don't think it'll happen? Okay. Why not?
So you paint a picture of them being the same as the first administration in 2016. My perspective is that it's going to be even fucking worse, okay? In 2016, they were at least hardline nationalists. They were at least hardline protectionists of industries and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Trump 2024, he's a different person than in 2016. Trump, this time round, he's filled to the fucking gills with donor money. Remember in 2016 when he was like, the entire time he's like, I'm self-funding my campaign. I don't need your money. I don't want your money. That's not the case this time. He is funded to the fucking gills with billionaire donor money, okay? Bill Ackman, Ken Griffin, a tacit endorsement by fucking
Adelson.
Bezos and Musk and Adelson, not to mention Adelson. All these billionaires used to be elite Democrats, and you think the Trump administration is going to be fucking based? These people hold the shots, and you think it's going to be based? Are you fucking retarded? Dude, they back Trump for the stock market, okay? And they back Trump for the most milquetoast center-right policies. Things like, like fucking tax cuts for corporations. The second Trump even thinks about doing something remotely based, like deporting illegal immigrants who aren't criminals, Ken Griffin is going to fucking jump on the phone and get on MSNBC and say, oh, wow, this is totally not what I voted for. This is totally out of line. I funded this campaign, but this is totally out of line. And this time, Trump has to listen because he took their fucking money. So what's even the game plan here? It's like, dude, do you remember the whole separating kids from families thing in the first Trump admin?
Of course.
The whole fiasco.
Who put the kids in the cages, Tyson?
Yeah, it was Obama. But the whole fiasco.
That's why he's sick.
The whole fiasco was because of the catch and release policy, right? Where if a illegal immigrant crosses the border and they have a minor with them, they will be guaranteed to be taken into custody and released into the interior of the United States. And then they will have to come back to court for some time. The result of this, right, is that millions of people just got like some fucking random kid got arrested and then got released into the States and then just didn't go to court. And when Trump tried to shut this down, you remember how hard the media was like going on? Like they're saying, oh, you're separating kids from cages, then you're separating families, all that stuff. And he caved. He fucking called up the Department of Homeland Security. He's like, yo, we can't do this. We gotta stop the heat's too hard, you know?
I think the difference this time around is
this time the forces are way more liberal, and he's gonna cave way fucking more. Like
absolutely, and we'll see if they're left into their own devices without any pushback, what direction they go in. Like, let's say there weren't a hysterical media like there were in 2016. What would they do if they were left to their own devices? Probably not anything that aggressive. I'm totally with you on that. But I also think a little bit of the difference this time is people aren't listening to a screeching media as much anymore. So in 2020, companies like CNN were clamoring for Trump to get back in the office. They're suffering when Trump isn't in office. I don't think people are going to be back to turning on Rachel Maddow and CNN for 4 more years. I know she's on MSNBC, just talking about disparate news channels that all lean to the left. I don't think people are going to be sprinting back to those people again because we have fatigue from daytime media over the last 8 years. We still have fatigue from the first Trump administration from daytime media. And I don't think people are listening anymore. So not only does he have all these vessels of control within our own government, he has a populace that's somewhat numb to a media that they used to be a lot more receptive to. Why? Because the face of media has changed over the last 10 years. Instead, they're listening to Joe Rogan go, wow, that's crazy. And like the Contrarian hour being like, oh, you had a double cheeseburger at an Indian place. No, just kidding. Let's throw ourselves in
I think you're overestimating the
I'm overestimating.
The flow.
Okay.
So
yeah.
you think because the mainstream media is dying, people are shifting rightwards to like the alternative right-wing media like Joe Rogan. I'm saying that's happening, but people that used to listen to MSNBC that are leftists, they've shifted to their own form of alternative leftist media. Like this time,
like Hassan,
it literally, yes. It's not going to be MSNBC calling for Trump to like stop the kids in cage thing. It's going to be Hassan and fucking Destiny teaming up on a live stream saying, "Yeah, this is Trump. What is this? This is what Trump's doing. It's going to be really bad. You have to campaign. You have to get Antifa out to stop him." These are the new mouthpieces of the left.
I think you overestimate them. I really do. But yeah, I mean, you could be right. I mean, one of them changed the election and one didn't. You know what I mean? It seemed like the right sphere changed the direction of the election, and the left, which, by the way, never had a stranglehold on right-wing talk media. Okay, conservatives have had a multi-decade head start on talk show media because of Rush Limbaugh, who is the godfather of conservative thought and the greatest conservative thinker of all time. They've never had someone like that. Who do they have? Keith Olbermann? I don't know. I don't know who they're talking. Anna Kasparian? They have sorry. Anna Kasparian's leaning towards the other side now.
who are like the top dogs? You got Destiny. You got Hassan. You got fucking. You know that guy Kyle Kalinske? He's a fucking loser, but I guess he's up there as well.
Is he one of them? So you bring up something about Trump's donors, and this is something that I've been thinking of a lot, and it seems like it's like a root, or I don't know, a weed, a parasite that's grown inside the Trump campaign and will now be a part of his administration, which we're now seeing with the Vivek Ramaswamy, Elon Musk. And there's a lot going on here, but I'll just try and summarize my thoughts and not get too long-winded about it. But Silicon Valley used to be the headquarters for technological innovation in our country, and it's left-leaning. There's Silicon Valley, it's in San Francisco, and now, almost symbolically, San Francisco is a shithole. Silicon Valley is not a place of innovation anymore, and it's not even where the heart of tech is. Now it's been spread like a diaspora throughout the entire country, and that also changed the face of the technological industry politically. You talk about people like Peter Thiel, you talk about Elon Musk, you talk about Google themselves, you talk about Apple, Tim Cook, people like that, okay? This used to be, you know, they lean to the left, or in Elon Musk's case, libertarian, but I'm not talking specifically about them. But now there's this new, really strange neoliberal tech class that's completely infected the Trump administration via Elon Musk and Peter Thiel. And I'm really trying to see where it all goes and what the end point is, because they're going to end up fighting and hating each other at some point. I don't really get it, but we were so quick to welcome them, like the right is with everything. They're always like, oh, a celebrity likes us, we're so happy. Oh, Elon Musk likes us, we're so happy. We'll take anything, we'll take anyone.
Any Republican congressman would jizz in their fucking pants if they got a check from Peter Thiel in the last 4 years. That's how pathetic these fucking faggots are.
Wow, a little bit heated there. But there's two new classes, and I'm stealing this completely from something that someone whose thoughts I value highly from time to time was talking about how there was a new class in the left, which I actually wasn't familiar with, and it makes sense because I couldn't quite pin it. You know it when you see it. It's the academic, we'll say, mixed race, liberal, highly educated class that's conscious of geopolitics and what's going on in Israel and Palestine. This class of people that the Democrats have nurtured over the past 8 years, they feel like they were betrayed by how Biden was handling the Israel-Palestine situation. And I think that actually makes a lot of sense. And those types of people are actually very influential within their party and the people that listen to them speak. And once there was kind of that friction within the Democratic Party, it's kind of the first time you've seen cracks there, too, because they have to cater to people who obviously don't, we won't get too far into this, but don't support what the state of Israel is doing right now in the Gaza Strip, etc. And they weren't feeling properly recognized by the Democrat Party as a whole. And that actually just created a little bit of ambivalence towards Biden and the upcoming election. And that might have cost them too. So you have these like new classes clashing with these new types of media that we have. It's like a really interesting time. And like the election was kind of emblematic of all of that and put all of it together. And that's before getting to the fact that what were the polls saying? The polls were like +2 Kamala, plus whatever Trump. You had Poly Market, you had everything. What does it all mean anymore?
The polls, they had Kamala and Trump in a dead heat. Maybe like Trump by 0.1%, right? But the betting markets, they were the most reliable fucking source of information the entire time, it turns out. Because Trump was up like +15 on Poly Market, and he ended up being +15 the entire fucking time. So I think polls are dead. I think Poly Market and these prediction sites, I think they're the way forward.
You might be onto something now. If you don't know, it's fine. I'm not quizzing you, but is Poly Market, are the odds on there dictated by so my knowledge of betting comes from CSGO Lounge when I used to bet Counter-Strike skins. God rest its soul. Those were the best times in my life. I traded away an iBuyPower sticker, Redline AK. I wasn't thinking. I just wish I could get that AK back, but it's okay because I did get a knife. So it's good. We're squared up. But are the odds dictated by how many people are betting for and against something, or are there bookies?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, it's purely how much people are betting on one side.
And that was more accurate than the polls.
Bizarre, right? If I remember, like, before, a few months ago, the Poly Market average for Trump was inflated by 10% because some fucking French guy just put like a $30 million bet on Trump, and that inflated the average by like 10% for a few days. It was pretty funny.
Well, the thing I don't get, and why Poly Market just seems so farcical to me, is I didn't expect him to steamroll that hard. We're talking about states like Arizona, McCain country, where his tumor ghost haunts the lands and makes sure Trump could never win again, and Kyrsten Sinema looks cute forever. And he steamrolled that entire state. Pennsylvania was done by the end of the night. Honestly, the mysterious white vans in Pennsylvania didn't even have a chance to show up. I don't even get it. He destroyed them.
I didn't want to toot my own horn, but I kind of had a feeling this was going to happen because just the pure amount of like establishment backing Trump got towards the end of the campaign. I'm like, this is a done deal. I mean, people want to think Trump has changed the mainstream, and he did for a lot of ways, but the big question is, has the mainstream come around to Trump, or has Trump softened so much that he's become mainstream? I think it's the latter, and I think that's what won him the election.
I think you're latter, and there's that infamous, it meant to be an admonishment of Trump where he called him the Molotov cocktail. And it was true. In 2016, he was a Molotov cocktail to the establishment, and that's why a lot of people liked him. He is not, and I would say that too back then. I'd be like, look, say what you want about him. Yes, I could never defend his character. I never will in a million years. It speaks to you as a man when you cheat on your pregnant wife with someone. That's just despicable. But what I will say is he is truly an outsider. He was then. He is not, even when he was hiring Reince Priebus and doing whatever he did back in the day, and we're like, it's all fine. Mitch McConnell, do what you got to do. We're all
the hire that changed Europe.
Yeah, it's Tyson's favorite person.
I want to knock him out so fucking bad, dude.
I think he could take you. He's got like this.
Reince Priebus. Come on, dude. I will knock him out in like 1 fucking second. Give me some
Hold on. Let me see. Reince Priebus shirtless. There are no pictures of Reince Priebus shirtless. Actually, you know
what?
Out
in like 5 seconds, dude.
Yeah, you would take him. There's a picture of him next to Bannon, though, and Bannon would take you. No, you could take Reince Priebus. Okay, are you happy now? I'll give you that one. You just got knocked the fuck out. So no, he is completely encapsulated by a tech donor class, a other type of donor class. And yeah, I do think that's a good point. And look, he'll do what he can. It's nice that Kushner's not involved with the administration, but that can only take you so far. And again, he doesn't have Bannon to guide him and keep a pulse on what the grassroots actually are. So, it'll be an interesting 4 years.
Me and Moyer have a bet going on that's going to resolve in at most 4 years' time, where I say within these next 4 years, Trump will engage in a kinetic, hot war with Iran.
Boots on the ground.
And I will bet my entire fucking life this happens, dude.
So you will bet that there will be American troops, substantial American troops, let's say plus 2,000 boots on the ground in Iran by the end of Trump's administration.
Yep, guarantee it.
Dude, come on.
I guarantee it, dude.
So if anyone's here, well, no, I know there's some people here. If anyone's here wants to comment, please comment if you think that's going to happen, because I don't think that's going to happen. That doesn't make any sense to me. So
it does. It makes perfect sense, dude. Israel backed Trump because they knew that Trump would give them a blank check when it came to fucking their plans with the Middle East.
Good. So they're going to roll up, do what they can. And
they're going to roll up. They're going to do whatever they can. Then they're going to rope your country into war with Iran, and then they're going to fucking win at your expense. Congrats. I
don't know. It's kind of our fault we got sucked into Iraq because we fell for a dossier that was describing a scene of an atomic weapon in a movie. So, it was literally a description of like a glowing atomic uranium device through glass, which apparently isn't scientifically feasible. We fell for it. That was like what most of the impetus for invading Iraq was at the time, or at least like proof in the administrative sense. So
look, as someone that isn't white, I shouldn't even be. I should be supporting the fact that this happened. Because if I'm truly looking out for my own interests, for my race or whatever, I should be happy that you guys are going to be roped into war with Iran. Because if you guys do that, it's going to fucking bankrupt your nation, and it's going to make the rise of like fucking China and Russia and BRICS.
The Maoist revolution will rise again. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Look at how much money the fucking Iraq war and Afghanistan war took out of your country, right? Like two, maybe 3 trillion. If you do that with Iran, too. It's gonna be like fucking what, 7 trillion. It's gonna bankrupt the fucking country, dude. But I don't want that to happen. It's retarded. Okay, so I have sympathy for you guys. I don't want you guys to bankrupt yourselves fighting for a foreign nation. So
the altruistic Asian New Zealander. I'm so appreciative. Thank you very much.
I could just wipe my hands and be like, well, done deal. I mean, you guys fucked up, but I have, I'm trying to help you guys out here. This is bad. You shouldn't do it,
I think some people will also look back, and we're talking about geopolitical issues in general here. I mean, the 2016 to 2020 was generally peaceful. I remember there being an orb with Saudi Arabia that everyone was touching at once. Who knows what was going on with all that? But it's hard to ignore that from 2020 to 2024, Russia did get a lot more aggressive in Ukraine. I think that might get scaled back a little bit, even though I think Trump's going to be more pro-Ukraine than people think he's going to be. They always say like a lot of memes where it's like Zelensky, like, ruh-roh, there goes the gravy train. And he's got a lot of people that are in his orbit that are actually going to be a little affectionate towards Ukraine and what's going on there. But also what happened with Israel. You think the opposite? Okay.
A lot of people in his presence would rather they just drop Ukraine outright and just focus on Israel immediately.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Mean, that would make sense.
You know what? Really, Russia has the upper hand when it comes to Ukraine right now. Like, Russia gave out these terms to. So America tried to come to terms, gave out these surrender terms to Russia, and they're like, okay, we'll make a guarantee, we'll cease fire for 20 years, and in those 20 years, Ukraine will not be allowed to join NATO, but afterwards we'll resume the fighting. And Russia's like, no, why would we do that? We have the advantage now. We can just win. So what's the fucking point?
Either they're losing a lot of men, though.
Sure, but either like you guarantee us that Ukraine won't join NATO forever, or we're just gonna keep fucking taking back the country that we're gonna annex. So like, what's even the deal here?
Okay, well, I am interested to see what Trump's attitude is. Well, I know what Trump's attitude is going to be towards Israel because him and Netanyahu are best bros. But I am interested to see what the reaction is going to be, because if he's going to give them a blank check, then that's going to, again, be in lockstep with neoconservatism, really, and center-left liberalism from 20 to 30 years ago. That's Israel is our greatest ally. This is what they do, and they're doing this. They're expanding their borders to protect their country from the evil outsider. So if you think that's going to be the narrative over the next 4 years, then I can see that. I actually saw an interesting tweet today about Tulsi Gabbard, about how she used to be just a little more careful with her rhetoric around Israel and saying like, hey, you know, we shouldn't be giving them everything. We should hold them maybe a little bit accountable for what they do. And now she says, no, get out there, blow up Palestine, do whatever you want to do, because she's in Trump's administration now. And I think they all want to be on the same page with that. So she's basically been flirting with the right for a very long time, which honestly to me made her lose her edge. I actually liked when she was like a challenge. She used to be challenging the left from the left. Now she, I don't even know, is just a center right bore, really. And it just, I don't know. It's a shame to see what's happened to her over the last. The thing that
pisses me off is like, you just know that Peter Thiel is going to use every fucking piece of leverage that he can to do what he wants for Israel. Like, I just hate him so much, dude. Like,
I know. All right, well, but it's not the Israel hour, believe it or not. But what I was leading into was, okay, so this is say something nice time. So say something nice about Biden's administration, right? Trump did not have it in him during his term to get our troops out of Afghanistan. And
not true.
I don't want to hear the whole the deep state wouldn't let him do it, or he wasn't allowed to. The generals didn't let him. He literally tried to. I don't care. I don't want to hear any of that. Biden made the call and was able to accomplish getting us out of Afghanistan, which I think was important. Trump could not do that. That war was a waste of money, I'm sorry to say, but a lot of people who spent time over there did it for nothing. People gave their lives for nothing over there, especially since the entire country self-destructed the second we left. And we left helicopters and some. That's going to happen when you extricate yourself out of decades-long engagement.
This is what I agree with you on. Countries. Like that's a non-point. Like who fucking cares if you left it sitting there? It doesn't matter. You know?
But he left the wrong way. It's like, yeah, but at least he left. We're not involved in the region anymore. Isn't that what isolationists like? Aren't the isolationists who think Trump is an isolationist, which he is not? Don't they like that? So,
but you are wrong on the first point. I mean, dude,
okay.
Trump literally ordered his generals, "Yo, get us out," and then they just refused. Like they said, "No." So he's like, "What the fuck? You can't do that. I'm the commander-in-chief. You can't do that. What the fuck?"
Something tells me more could have been done there with the agency of his position. I don't think, because towards the end of it, he said, actually, good news. We're going to put 2,000 more troops on the ground to see it through. I can't remember if that was Afghanistan or Iraq or not. Everyone's like, yay. And also, here's a Medal of Honor to Rush Limbaugh. I don't know. It's like the weirdest thing ever. So it's just like final State of the Union speech. So listen, I like that Biden did that. And I'm just looking back. Thanks for the memories. His smile was hilarious. The aviators. I mean, look, he inherited a ridiculous printing and spending spree from Trump due to COVID, which I think Trump massively mishandled. That would have been tough for any president. We would have experienced a lot of economic hardship, whether Trump won or not.
I will agree with you there. I mean, Biden, he was comfy, you know. He was comfy, and you know, he is like a lovable aura around him. He's like a lovable grandpa, and you know, for all that's worth, he didn't do as bad as it could have been worse. These 4 years, it could have been worse.
Well, you could tell. Look, he is an embittered old Catholic Irishman, and you know that's endearing in some ways, but there was a person under there, and you could tell he definitely had his own personality. He definitely had his own struggles in life they had to work with, and. Yep. I'll just real quick, a quick story that he showed humanity at one point in his presidency. I thought was really interesting. Everyone makes fun of the clip because he sounds senile when he's talking. But if you follow his words, they actually make sense. But the clip is ridiculous because I don't know if it's a quote unquote Biden double or not. His butt chin is ridiculous. It's like a googly eye butt chin where like both clefts go in like different directions. It's like the most ridiculous butt chin I've ever.
Butt chin. He has like a fucking neck pussy, dude. He looks like a fucking vagina.
He had his neck pussy protruding, very disrespectful. Like, it was ridiculous. But he said, a reporter said something to him, and it was about losing someone, and he said, how can you possibly cope with the loss of someone or empathize with someone who has lost someone important in their lives? How can you get into their world? It's a different world that they're in, and you can only just be there for them. And it was actually a really beautiful moment that everyone missed what he was saying. It was like, oh, you know, it's crazy, and obviously we can't just be partisan, even to a small degree, when it's a human moment, even though that's what we pretend we want in politics. But it was a really, really good moment, and it was one of the times where I saw him like, this is a guy who should be in retirement. He should be enjoying his life, because he is a human at the end of the day. And I did hate Jill Biden most of it, because she was definitely coercing him into continuing on in his presidency, even though he shouldn't have. She's been a boss bitch lately, like when she wore all red to the, to voting. And then there was another clip where Kamala went to sit down next to her, and she didn't even move her fucking face to look at her, shake her hand, or do anything. She hates that bitch.
Imagine
it's
the smell.
so funny. Yeah. Well, I don't know. You said that, not me. So, sorry. Were you going to say something? Because I have something else to say.
No, I mean, yeah. These 4 years flew. Like honestly, Biden, he's like you said, he's a human. And honestly, can you imagine if these 4 years was run by Hillary instead? It would have been so much worse, dude. You would have like you people like complaining about like the one holiday that they gave to LGBT people from the White House thing. If Hillary was president, there'd be like fucking 10 of those. There'd be like literally 10x of that. So thank God that the glass ceiling is still intact. You know, base Biden.
My issue is, it's very simple, but it's actually been simplified by the term the deep state. It's not the deep state that I have the problem with, whatever that may be. I'm not sure if it's nebulous by design or what. But the left is conducive and meshes with the bureaucratic state. IRS, CIA, what is NHS, the British one, whatever, EPA, something, okay? They're enamored with the bureaucratic state, and the bureaucratic state is enamored with them, because the left generally wants more government intervention with the programs that they want to implement. So I don't like that. Okay. So when the left is in control, that means there's more power for the bureaucratic state. And those are unchecked government pensioners that do not care about you. They do not care about you. They only care about servicing themselves, furthering their careers, and growing their organizations. So anything away from that is something that I'm willing to vote for. And the right, they're beholden to much different interests. They're beholden to more corporations, foreign interests, etc. So, I mean, the left is to a degree. But that's kind of the bifurcation between the two parties that, you know, keeps me engaged a lot of the time. And when it's not a win for the left, that means it's not a win for the bureaucratic state. And those are the unchecked powers that I hate in this country. That, again, Trump took it way too easy on in 2016. Way too easy on. So,
dude, you know what I was thinking recently? The right is so much more captured by fucking think tanks than the left. You know,
because they're impressionable idiots.
Literally, yes, dude. Like, you know, you have some people in fucking Discord, in our Discord, and they're like supporting like the most obvious fucking like think tank positions, and it's like, do you have a fucking brain, dude? Like the only reason that you oppose Syria, Iran, and it's like every single geopolitical strategy, geopolitical opinion you have is from like the America First Policy Institute. It's like, dude, can you please let your brain breathe from DC for once, you know, like.
Yeah, no, it's possible. I think that the one thing that people need to keep in mind, and I've been saying this, I have been begging people, and they don't want to talk about it because they just hate Trump. Like their brains are irreparably broken over Trump, who at the end of the day is a human being. I understand he says distasteful things and he's done distasteful things towards them, and I totally get all of that. What I try to tell people all the time, I beg them. I say, people on the far right, the people that you're scared of, the pro-life people, you know what I mean? The racists, everything. They hate Trump. They can't stand. They don't like him for a lot of reasons because he is center left. So all these things that you really care about, abortion, LGBT. Trump in 2016 didn't even want to touch that stuff. He was one of the first pro-gay presidents to ever run. And I hate saying that to defend him, but it's true. And he saw the third rail of abortion. He felt it with his own hands during this election season. He doesn't want to touch that ever again. He doesn't want to even go near it. And you know what? The GOP is so scared of it, they're not going to touch it ever again either. And be like, Roe v. Wade got overturned, and that's it. And Trump himself said, I will veto any, abortion ban law that comes across my desk. It'll be decided by the states. And I agree. I don't think it's the federal government's role to say whether you can or cannot get an abortion. That's between you, your unborn child, and God. I don't need the state or Trump or anyone else to sign that. And he doesn't want to. He doesn't. All the things that you're scared of, that you've been fear-mongered into being afraid of, nothing's going to happen. So why don't you just enjoy your life for 4 years, But you can't because it's Trump himself. They won't admit that. It's not about LGBT. It's not about any of those things. It's about Trump himself. And, let him go. Let him go, please. I let him go. I don't care about him. I don't think about him every day. So what's the problem? I don't know. It just blows my mind. It blows my mind. It's like they're emotionally arrested or something. So it just...
Well, this is really the case for why democracy is non-existent or shouldn't exist. I mean, people that can't separate themselves from their fucking emotions. They don't. You're telling me my vote's equal to that? Fuck off.
Well, yeah, there's one friend that we both know. I won't say him by name, but he's like, yeah, I saw this ad, this political ad, and it was so transparent. It was so stupid. It's like, Kamala's here to fight for you, and she's here to, and how do they believe that? And I'm like, dude,
you're so close.
I know you're getting there, but you have to let them get there on their own. I don't want to say the function of democracy. The dysfunction, or maybe we'll say it's a feature, not a bug, is that the point of it is to appeal to the lowest common denominator. The idiot who says, yes, Kamala is fighting for me, or yes, Trump is fighting for me. And they're right. Trump did carry that tiki torch and murder that woman in cold blood. Those are the constituents that make up the majority of democracy. And when people say, I can't believe more than half this country voted for that racist, it's sounds like you got a problem with democracy. And if so, step into my office. We got more in common than you think. So
that's true, actually.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's true. Democracy isn't even fucking real. I mean, it's like the elites are going to get what they want regardless. It's just that with democracy, they have to launder the approved opinions through media. It's like if you were in a fucking dictatorial state like China,
give a Chinese man under an hour and he'll bring up why they need a dictator.
No, I'm saying if you were in an
autocracy
state, if you were in an autocracy like Russia or China, they would just tell you straight up yeah, this is what's going to happen. But with democracy, they're still going to do that, but in the process of doing that, they just launch a billion ads saying oh, this is why doing X is actually freaking based, and then people are believe oh, I want to do X. So it's okay, well, the same result's happening, both people are doing X, but I prefer the autocratic way of saying of just being upfront, this is what's happening, I'm in charge, there's no veil. There's nothing behind the curtain,
That's well, you think about it this way. We've talked about it before on this very podcast. I loved those 2 weeks where Jack Ma of Alibaba just disappeared and got the shit beaten out of him by the Chinese government, and then showed back up, and he's like, "What? Nothing wrong here." And it's they show you who's boss. I don't know. I kind of like that. Imagine if Jeff Bezos were completely corrupted by foreign interests and could massively affect our economy, and they just black hat him for 2 weeks to get him in Guantanamo. And beat the shit out of them. Imagine they did that to Elon Musk. I'd be all about that, dude. That would be ridiculous. But this is me massively romanticizing it. But you're a lot less susceptible to foreign interests. Let's say if you're a monarchy, you're a king and a queen, and all of your holdings are dependent on the land and people of the country over which you preside. And you're there over a lifetime. You need to maintain a hereditary status okay, of your progeny and your offspring to create a dynasty in your country. You don't want to destroy the faith of that country by being a terrible leader or being beholden to foreign interests. But in democracy, who cares? People are paying enough attention. You can do whatever you want. And then Aaron ad that says, like, Trump is on your side, lay MAGA man or whatever. Like, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, also, it's so much easier to bribe someone in a fucking democracy. Like, you see all these fucking congressmen who like just sell state secrets for like 70 grand. It's like, dude,
they do stuff for... Dude, they do stuff for 20 grand.
Yeah. And it's like,
for whatever.
It's like, imagine trying to bribe a king. It's like, well, what can you give him? He already has everything in his fucking country. You know, it's so much harder to do that. Whereas it's like you have like Marjorie Taylor Greene's like, oh, that secret, that'll be 70 grand. Thank you, sir. It's like, okay, thank you. Like, shining example of democracy.
I saw a good tweet.
Weird tweet.
I saw a good tweet. It must have been a year ago at this point from this libertarian chick I follow. And she said that politics is Hollywood for ugly people. And it's so true because they're not people who have ever gotten the type of validation in life that they need, and they seek power. And they're easily influenced. And that's why they get caught in scandals, because they're ugly people who have finally gotten attention in life for once. Unless they're Gavin Newsom, obviously, who's perfect. And I welcome him as president in 2028. And people are like, you saw what he did in California? Dude, no one's going to give a fuck in 2028. Are you kidding me, dude? The party's going to rally right up behind him. No one will care about that anymore. But they barely even do now. But that's enough. I'm literally doing tricks on it when it comes to Gavin Newsom. So... I'll let that one go. So, you got anything else to say on the election? Look, I'll wrap it all up and just say, there was a clip on CNN where they said, "Hey, could you show this map of what counties Kamala is beating Biden in performance-wise during this election season?" And the entire map of the United States went gray without a single county. And they said, "Not one county." I'm like, "Not one county." Okay, that's concerning. So I wasn't expecting her to get obliterated. Like, it was a nuclear, like, what's it called in Call of Duty? You get like a nuke or whatever. You got a nuke kill. Yeah, you got a tactical nuke electoral kill streak, and then fucking dropped it on her head. Like, that was I was not expecting that. I was expecting to be such an early night. In 2016, I went to bed at 3 a.m. because John Podesta came out and said, "Oh, I just kidding. I didn't molest that kid." And then, "Oh, just kidding. I did molest that kid." And then that was the end of it. But now...
"Oh, I'm sorry. This hard drive just said the one hard drive in Comet Ping Pong just got shot," you know?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But it'll be a long night, so whatever.
I'm sorry. It was a botched robbery, but the guy just shot the hard drive and didn't steal any money. But yeah, it's a botched robbery. So
yeah, so he said that verbatim in 2016. But in this, in 2024, it was like 1 o'clock in Pennsylvania was almost called, and I'm like, early night, time for bed. So
remember how frustrating it was in 2020 where they counted and then they just like stopped fucking counting after a while.
Yeah.
Like, they would get slower and slower, and then it froze at like 87%, and then like it was just there for like 2 days straight, and it just trickled in, dude. It was like, what the fuck is happening, dude?
I went to bed, just call it intuition, and I know it's hindsight, so it doesn't matter what I say. I went to bed knowing Trump was going to lose in 2020. I could tell. I could just tell. I felt it as I was going to sleep. I wasn't that surprised when I woke up. I was surprised that he lost Michigan, but that's a different conversation for a different time, as we all know.
Oh, so, Michigan, interesting.
Yeah, whatever. We'll let it go for now, but I'll just say I just wasn't expecting such a battering. And you know what? Is this not going to cause some sort of reflection for the left? It must make you reflect. Surely you won't just call everyone racist for the next... You can't do that again when you have Hispanics and Native Americans voting.
I have some notes on this. This is actually a pretty interesting point in time. So, the real the most significant transformation that's happened recently for the left is the perception of America. So you think back to 2016, where Trump won, and the electoral vote, but not the popular vote. At that point in time, the left could confidently say, and they did say, that only a small minority of people in swing states caught Hillary by surprise. And it's only this small minority that won, who are the Nazis. You fast forward to now, where Trump won not only the electoral vote, but the fucking popular vote by 3 million votes, the old leftist perspective doesn't work anymore with this new information. How are you going to place the blame on a couple thousand, quote unquote, Nazis in swing states when Kamala lost by 3 million? You can't. And so the left has pivoted from this position. Their new position is no longer, we hold the arc of progression in our hands and we can make America as progressive as we want, as long as we stamp out these few thousand racists. Now their position is that America and the majority of Americans are inherently evil. They now believe that there is no redemption for half of all America.
Oh, true.
And the way that I like to phrase this, right, is something I saw in alt-right circles a few years back. Initially during the birth of the alt-right and the skeptic community, you had debate bros like Sargon and Mr. Menaker, which I'm sure you remember.
Of course.
Their whole mission was to bring forward new ideas and combat the left by talking and all this stuff. But you remember, at that point in time, if you fast forward 3 years after they got popular, around 2020, when the George Floyd stuff was happening, and I started to notice a deep sense of fatigue within the alt-right. They all started to say, like, time for talk is over. There's nothing more to be gained. Now it's only time for action, which back then for the alt-right meant violence. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I think the mainstream left, just like the alt-right in 2020,
they're going to get there.
Has reached that point finally.
Yeah,
they're now at the time for talk is over stage, and they're gonna say, time for talk is over. We cannot win any more people over to the values of progressivism because they're inherently evil. It's time for violence. So the big question remains, what are they gonna do? I think, and I'm gonna call it now. I think we're gonna see the resurgence of Antifa-style violence like we saw during the start of the first Trump admin. Only this time, it's going to be cranked up to fucking 11,
Really? So it won't just be Chaz or anything? So
no, it'll be, yeah.
You think they'll have their own, what day of the, which month and day of that month, and okay. I think that's a good point, because I don't think this election was a confirmation of Trump and MAGAism. I think this election was a renunciation of the left. And they are incapable of having the reflection to say, you know what, maybe everyone isn't a racist. Maybe everyone, maybe just because someone isn't as educated as me doesn't mean they're less useful or worthwhile than me. You really think they're going to have that kind of introspection?
No, they're going to double down like they always do.
Yeah, they will. I don't think they have the capability of the humility, but they're just going to keep losing if that's the case. And we're at the point now where the Supreme Court's going to be locked up for the rest of my lifetime, and they're not going to be whatever control they want to wrest. It's just not going to go their way. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a really interesting point about their reflecting their frustrations. You know what I mean? And how they're going to take them out, because they have to balance that with also being the dignified party. Well, we're going to peacefully hand over power. So I think they'll peacefully hand over power, and then you'll just see something fester on the left for a little while.
It's already festering. It's already festering.
So?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point. So we'll leave it. We'll cap it off with a good intellectual point by you. There's something that I wanted to get off my chest real quick, and it's outdated. It makes no sense. I don't know why I'm saying it, and it's the perfect thing to end an episode with. I am so frustrated with the state of movie discourse that goes on not only in the internet, real life, anywhere else. You're either talking about movies through a cultural lens or through an artistic lens. No one talks about movies as if they're just entertainment or did you have fun for an hour and a half? I just saw Venom 3, and I loved those first two Venom movies, and I didn't even like the second one that much because they ruined Carnage, which is my favorite villain in all of comic books. But Venom 3 was one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen in my life, and I had so much fun the entire time. And you can tell that you just do a mishmash between, I guess, Japanese executives and Sony and incompetent just writers and creatives that are involved with the franchise, and Tom Hardy just liking the character inexplicably and wanting to play him for the rest of his life. It was just a good, fun action-packed, never-stop movie with jokes that sometimes landed, jokes didn't land, with a heartfelt ending, and that was it. I felt like I was watching like a daytime sci-fi movie from 10 or 15 years ago, which sounds derogatory, but it's not. What I'm saying is the movie had a heart to it. It had a pulse to it. And that's not something that you could put a price on. And I just like so sick of like when a movie comes out, it's like, oh yeah, it's got the, it's got the woke this, or, oh man, it doesn't have like this camera work by Nolan or like any of this. It's like, it's a dumb fucking comic book movie. Like, please.
When you were describing Venom, I thought, okay, maybe there is something to like watching something just for fun. And then I'm not sure if you remember this film, but like I think 2 years ago, there's this film by Ryan Reynolds, where it's called Free Guy. Where it's,
I remember that. That was
dude.
Yeah,
it's like I think I would feel nauseous if I watched that in the cinema. But how is it different from Venom 3? Right? They're both supposed to be dumb films, but I feel nauseous at watching Free Guy, but I can stomach Venom,
I don't think Free Guy has a pulse or a heart to it. Free Guy is like, I have a lightsaber along with like the Master Chief blade. Isn't that epic bacon? And then like the Reddit thing like flies across. Like, that's too much. Like, that's like Ready Player One shit. Okay, that is all artificial. Okay, Venom, there was a lot more to it. I'm just saying that there's movies that just, you could tell they have a pulse to them, and you can tell the actor in them is enjoying themselves, and that's what I like too. And that's why I hate what people say they think they want about movie, because the problem is people say just make a good movie and everyone will go out to see it. That's not fucking true. You guys don't go to theaters and see movies. You sit at home and do fucking nothing and order things on Amazon. And I know I've said this a million times, but it bothers me because movies are dying. We won't have theaters to go to anymore.
The biggest thing that disproves that is that the Transformers films, the first 4 of them made like $1 billion each. They're not good films. So
dude,
there goes your fucking theory.
1 isn't even, dude. I was a teenager or something when Transformers 1 came out, and I think that's the name of one of them now. Sorry, the original Transformers came out, and I was just like, the fuck was that? Although my one friend who said it was too unrealistic, and I was like, which part of it was unrealistic? The British robots,
the shape-shifting robots,
yeah, that shapeshift into cars that are on planet Earth. Like, which part of it was a little too unreal? I always laugh about that, but I remember leaving that movie and being like, that wasn't that great. I mean, I have no idea, but I had fucking fun. So
whatever.
To
make like $1 billion, dude. So yeah.
Yeah, and then they just wheel in Mark Wahlberg and they do whatever. And you know what, dude?
But you know what? I will say there is a place and time for late intellectual, artistic films. So
sure,
I indulge in those as well. I do love those.
Well, I think it's a medium of expression, and sometimes you have conversations with your friends where you're just saying really dumb shit over and over, and there's other times where, I don't know, you're doing an election recap with your friend, and maybe there's some more elevated diction being used in that discussion. But that's the way movies are. Sometimes it's stupid and you want to eat popcorn, and other times, you're pretending you're watching an Ingmar Bergman film and you're intelligent for sitting there for an hour and a half, even though you could sit there for an hour and a half and watch fucking Garfield too. So you're really not accomplishing anything by watching either of them, and you should go read a fucking book.
It's just like
and then pretend to be an intellectual about that.
It's like the meme of the guy in the corner of the party is like, these people don't know that I've watched The Seventh Seal by Ingmar Bergman.
You just described myself. So it's fine. All right, you got anything else?
I had a lot of revealing things that I wanted to get off my chest that weren't political, but I think I'll save it for the next one.
Okay, good. Thank goodness. I'm really happy to hear that, because I'm not ready for it. So thanks for listening, guys. I didn't say it at the beginning. Be sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah,
I always miss that from time to time. But sorry it took a little bit there. Micro hiatus, but we'll be here till the day we die.